Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Shen. I'm Director of Special Projects for Acton Boxbar. I work in the Superintendent's Office, and in this edition of AB Connects, we want to provide the community with an update about our new school building that's going to eventually house the Douglas Elementary, the Gates Elementary, and the Huebner Preschool. And so we're very fortunate that Emily, one of our lead architects, is here today to take us on a tour, and excited for that. We're starting here at the Boardwalk, and that's actually what we're going to be naming the new building and campus, the Boardwalk Campus. And so I'm going to hand it over to Emily.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. My name is Emily Grandstaff-Rice. I'm an architect with Arrow Street. We're the designer of the project, but we've got lots of consultants that work with us. This has really been an amazing team effort, and this is one of the proudest pieces that we have of this entire campus is the Boardwalk. Ways in which we can connect the existing Douglas and Gates sites and also really celebrate the site that we have here today. So one of the neat features of the Boardwalk is it actually connects to what was the West Acton Boardwalk, which was fundraised and built many years ago. So there's features that we've been able to save and connect to. So that's great. And this is a feature where the kids will be able to come out and see the natural ecosystem of the wetlands. And there are quite a lot of animals that are still out here. Particularly, we deal with beavers. We also thought it would be neat to have it covered because this is going to be one of the connectors to some parking that's going to be on the Douglas side. So it's going to be an active use all throughout the year. So on what is the existing Douglas side, there will be a parking lot, as well as we're going to be keeping the existing playground structures, and there will be an open field. And over here where you've got the existing Douglas, there will be a new softball field. So what's nice about it is that there's a lot of open land, which is accessible for the kids to come over the boardwalk to play during recess or after school. So this will be a new open space in a way that it's previously done, and it will be even more expanded. So we designed the cafeteria because the cafeteria is a very large space, so we knew that that made sense as a single story as opposed to the classroom areas, which are actually 3 stories.
How many kids will it accommodate?
It'll accommodate about 300 at a lunch sitting. So it's a big cafeteria, but there's going to be a wall in between it that can subdivide it, because we're dealing with 2 schools, right? So
right.
It's Gates and Douglas. And so it's designed that if Gates and Douglas want to have separate lunches, they can do that. Or if they want to open it up and have combined lunch, they can do that as well.
So this is the rainwater system, right?
Cistern, yes.
Cistern.
So yeah, no, it's perfect. So this is 20,000 gallons worth of water, this big thing here. So yeah, this is what's going to hold the water to flush all the toilets. Thrilling. So this is the cafeteria. One of the features of the cafeteria is that there will be large windows that will look onto the brook. So sort of that, I mean, right now you've got a pile of soil that's going to be moved around into different places, but eventually you'll be able to look out this cafeteria and see the Douglas building. So there's kind of a neat, well, the Douglas building won't be there when we're done, but you'll be able to see the other side of the site, so there'll be a nice connection to the brook. So this is one of the stages that we have, and so this will be the more formal stage over here. And there'll be a ramp up to it, so those who have ambulatory issues can get up to the stage. And this is the flat floor stage that we have over here. So this is sort of, and what you'll see in here, this huge beam is what's going to support a wall that can divide the two together. Yeah.
Are you going to have induction stoves?
So this will be a fossil fuel free building. Okay. So yeah, we are going to use conduction ovens, and electric stoves. So yeah, there will be no natural gas in the building.
Perfect.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. The kitchen will be right sized for this size of facility. And what you're seeing off to the left here will be, that's the service entrance. So that's where food deliveries will come so that they won't interrupt school while it happens. So the next space that I wanted to take you guys to is the gym. Okay, so because there's a lot of kids in the school and because of scheduling, you need to be able to run multiple PE classes at the same time. So we actually have two gyms. One is the 6,000 square foot gym here, which is the large one. It's large enough to hold a middle school basketball court. So it's big. We thought that it would be important to include natural light, but of course to have natural light that wouldn't necessarily create too much glare. And one of the features that we did, because this is such a large space, is that we have some windows into the learning spaces upstairs. So there'll be a hallway. So as some of the students of the Gates building go by, they can actually peek into the gym, which is all. Whenever we design schools, we try to find moments of surprise and joy. And so when we design little features like that, it's neat to kind of see how you can see learning on display. So this is the 6,000 square foot gym. And then we have a gym that is 3,000 square feet over here. This is not as exciting, but these are the back of house spaces. So this is where you'll find some of the mechanical equipment, storage, as well as maintenance and operations. Yes, so this is one of the stairs. Obviously, in a school of this size, you need stairs that are big enough and can handle a lot of activity. But again, whenever we design stairs, we like to have nice moments so that you're always connected to the outside and you can see what's so beautiful about the site. So on this section, we've got the grades 5 and 6 classrooms. So each grade has 3 classrooms per grade, except for kindergarten. And kindergarten will have four classrooms per grade. So the way that the building is organized is that on the ground floor, we have most of the big spaces like the gymnasium, the cafeteria, and obviously administration. And the second floor is the Gates School, and the third floor is the Douglas School. So that the plan is actually very similar between the Gates School and the Douglas School for efficiency, right? Because it makes sense when you stack the same type of space on top of each other. But they have their own identity because they're all on the same floor, which is something that the principals felt really strongly about when we were doing the planning. Okay, so this is a typical classroom. What's unique about this is that we wanted to make sure that someone from the hallway could look in, and so you could see learning on display. So this is probably more glass or glazing than you would see in a typical classroom, but it allows there to be a connection between what's happening in the hallway and what's also in the classroom. So what you'll find over here is we're going to have a series of cubbies. So this is where the students will be able to put their stuff away. And this space itself is almost like a mudroom or sort of an orientation to the classroom, and most of the learning happens in this larger space. Each classroom itself is 950 square feet, which is significantly larger than some of the existing classrooms. Every classroom has a very large window to ensure that we have a lot of natural daylight. You won't necessarily see the mechanical equipment because we'll have a sloped ceiling, a sloped finish ceiling that will go up to the height of the windows. But I do want to point out this room over here, which is every classroom has a small group breakout room, which is about 100 square feet. And what's nice about that is when you have kids who need differentiated learning, it allows you to be able to have them do the work right next to the classroom. So this is like if they need special services, or if there's special assessments, or if a group of kids just needs a quiet place to do work independent of the classroom. It allows a lot of flexibility. So every 2 classrooms share one of these breakout rooms. Another feature of this classroom is that each classroom has 2 sinks, which is good for the teaching of science, but also to make sure that we're all hygienic and wash our hands a lot. We have a series of air handling units, and they use energy recovery, so they don't use as much energy as a typical one. All of them have HEPA filters on it. Every classroom has 100% fresh air coming to it. So there's no sort of circulated air, which is just best practice. We know that when there's a lot of good airflow, students actually learn better, right? Because it's easier to breathe and you just feel more comfortable. And one of the features of this building too is that we have diffused displacement. So what does that mean? That means that instead of the air blowing down on you from above, it actually comes low. And so that's what these features are here. So the air system actually comes out of these diffusers at a very low velocity. So it's much quieter than a normal, we've all been in a room where the air is like blowing on you and you sort of feel uncomfortable. So it happens much quieter and much more even. And at the edge, by that beam, that's where we'll have radiant panels. And so it's hygienic because the air is coming from below, not above. It returns from above. And it's also a more even temperature along the way. So that's something that we like to do in our schools. So what we just saw there were 6 classrooms over here that were grades 5 and 6. On every school floor we have 2 resource rooms which have dedicated special education classrooms. And then on the other side of the building are grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and K. Fires happen pretty rarely in schools.
I know.
That being said, the whole system is integrated. So yes, so if there was an emergency event, the entire school has to evacuate. And that's a different philosophy than the current, well, I should say, the current Douglas and Gates are single floor buildings, except for Douglas has 2 floors, right? So it's a little bit of a different philosophy. That's one of the things that we actually talked through a lot, is there was some concern about if we've got 3 floors, how do we get kids out of the school safely? This building has fire-rated walls that will keep everybody safe, as well as you saw the size of the stairways. There's enough egress capacity that we can get everybody out of the building safely. But yes, it is going to be a change to the existing schools.
Thank you.
Of course. So what you're seeing here is this curved wall is the start of the media center, and media center is what we call libraries these days. This is another one of these moments where we're putting a window in, so as you come off the hallway you can kind of see what's happening in the media center. The media center is the heart of the Douglas and the Gates schools. So one of the design challenges that we had was, how do we have a library that feels part of both schools, that it's not just one school or the other. So we created this 2-story media center space that is accessible from both floors. This is, in my mind, this is really going to be the jewel of the elementary schools. It will still be accessible to the early childhood program in a way that they don't in the current administration building, but it's pretty spectacular. It also has the best view. Not necessarily right now, but it will have the best view as it looks across the boardwalk. So what is going to happen in here is you see all these little tabs off of the steel. There's going to be a railing that will go all the way around, and it's a pretty spectacular space. This is the elevator, as Andrew was pointing out. So there's 2 elevators in the project, which is nice because we understood with the amount of kids that are in here, 2 elevators made sense. So Vivian, this is one of the fire rated stairs. So there's 4 main stairs in the building. 3 of them are enclosed and 1 is open. So again, we purposely designed the opportunity for people to get out of the building as quickly as possible if there was an adverse effect. So this is what is going to be the front door. And it will have 2 separate administration spaces. One will be for the Gates School, one will be for Douglas. We took the lessons learned from the Parker Damon building with Tom McCarthy and Miriam, and took what was good and also improved on some of the things that we know are challenging. So the door will be bigger, there will be multiple doors. This is temporary, yeah. But one of the things is important in an adverse weather to make sure that we've got a good covering, right? Especially where the buses are coming to pick up kids. And so this was designed for, I believe, 13 buses to queue at the same time, and we're by the train. So there you go. So this will be the main entry, and this will be the where most of the kids will come in the morning. Let's see. And I can walk you around what the front of the building will look like. So on our concept for the building was really to celebrate some of the industrial buildings of Acton. Because this building is of a certain scale, we wanted to make sure that it didn't feel like it was too much of a commercial building, but it had some fun moments, which is why you see some of the differentiation in the brick, as well as the red windows, while also recognizing that it is a very large building. One of the challenges that we had here were the elevation differential between where Spruce Street comes into the gates, and actually, if you look at the existing site, you don't realize how much of a drop-off it is, but it is. So that's why we created this dedicated pathway and bus drop-off. So as vehicles are entering Spruce Street, they will be separated between car traffic, and all of the buses, as normal, will come off of the street off of Arlington. So there will be no mixing of parent drop-off and pickup and buses, which is a best practice for school safety. So one of the things that you can see is how close the building is to the current Gates School, and the Consigli construction team has done an amazing job at making sure that the site is safe and accommodating and interrupts the learning that needs to happen at the Gates School the least amount as possible, as well as, like, you do provide good entertainment sometimes. Oh, yeah. Yes. So eventually, when this is all said and done, this will actually be covered over, and this will be a grass area, so it'll be a kind of an additional playing field, just like the existing leaching fields are for the Gates of the Douglas School. But this has been a really remarkable collaboration to make sure that this all happens, because there's a lot going on the site. What you're seeing here on the rounded portion are the music room and the art room. And so those are really special opportunities. We wanted to make sure that they were in the center of the school, close to the media center, because reducing travel time for specialists throughout the building. So Andrew, what's your biggest aha that you hadn't realized about the building?
I think the description of the actual individual classroom is pretty neat, just
Yeah.
in terms of having sort of an entry space and then having an instructional space, and then the breakout space, I think is key.
It's multi-layered,
Right.
where typically you think of a classroom as just one big space
Right.
and you've got zones in it.
Right.
And we will have that, but we just have those additional,
Yeah,
which is
it's going to be nice.
really good for transitions.
Right.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's really amazing about projects like this is how many people it takes to make it happen, right? Between the Consigli team, our OPM, Skanska, and AeroStreet, and all of our consultants. It's a lot, and that's just on the consultant side. Also the district and all of the time and the effort with the school building committee, as well as district employees that have made this happen. It's really kind of overwhelming sometimes when you think of how many people have been involved in this project.
We're excited that this was our next episode of AB Connects. Hopefully people feel like it was worth the time, and we're looking forward to episodes next month.